Welcome to the next episode of Revolutionary Talk. We're on to part 3 of New Year's resolutions. We're getting spiritual.
Spiritual, baby. What is your spiritual New Year's resolution?
I mean, honestly, I'm still kind of working through mine. You actually gave me this idea right before this episode, along the lines of meditating. I tend to not spend a whole lot of time just alone in my thoughts, so I think there's something to work with there for sure.
It can be a scary spot.
No kidding.
It can be fun too. Yeah, I think I was thinking of meditation as well. Meditation, I don't think you can meditate too much, but I think it's always good to cleanse your brain. But I said this in the other one too, on I think the physical one, no, the mental one, journaling. I think journaling, like decompressing my thoughts, because I always meditate and then I'm like, dang, I should journal. It's been the omen popping up everywhere, so I think journaling's really good just to get those thoughts out of your head that just keep bouncing around. So I think my soul would feed off of that, not having all these thoughts that endlessly are there. So
it's a good idea. It might be a good way to dump things out of your mind.
Put it on the paper.
Honestly, I haven't tried that. I mean, in your experience, has it worked like that when you've had something mentally draining you, if you can physically write it?
Yeah, and then it's actually fun to go back and reread what you wrote on another day when your vibration and your emotions shift. You're like, I was so petty. Or you kind of look at it and you're like, I was not in the same mind state I am now. It's cool. It's cool to see how it shifts, and it also gives you something to look back on to be like, oh, like that was bothering me then? Like, that's nothing now.
Yeah, look how much I've grown.
Yeah, so it kind of hits all the stuff we've talked about in the previous episodes, putting it like collectively together.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Do you have anything in mind yet, Kristen?
Well, I'm looking over at my stash of singing bowls, and I'm like, ooh.
That's really good. That's very spiritual.
Yeah, because the more I'm learning about them, the more I'm understanding the pieces that, a lot of allopathic medicine doesn't consider fully quite yet, or, just as humanity doesn't understand, barely the tip of quite yet. So, there's still a lot to learn about the energetics and the metaphysical part of what our world is. So, that's like all spiritual in my mind. So tapping into the frequencies like the essential oils can give, like sounds can give, and like these singing bowls, and even our own voices give, just like our thoughts and all that, same concept. And so I want to explore more of that with the singing bowls, being able to practice that more into like a meditation practice that I'm doing more consistently, more than I am now.
Gotcha. Cool. Gotcha. Okay. So the goal along those lines would be a consistency thing, you think?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Cool.
It's really setting that intention to grow myself in that level, in that spiritual level.
Yeah. Very cool.
Using a couple of tools, using singing bowls and essential oils.
Awesome. Yeah, it's funny. Pretty much all 3 topics that we've gotten into so far, consistency has been such a big thing with all of them. And I think it's just like by the end of the year, like all these resolutions and things we had at the beginning of the year are kind of thrown out the window. And now it's like a time to reset and get back to daily habits and consistency.
Yeah. Whew. That's a lot.
It is a
lot.
lot.
Just thinking about mine, I was like, should I say I'll meditate every day and journal every day? Because even if that's tough. Sometimes you plan on meditating at 8 o'clock and then something happens and you're busy and gone for the day and you can't be like, guys, I'm going to go to the bathroom real quick and meditate.
Having that accountability is nice.
Yeah.
So if you share that with somebody.
Maybe start doing it in the morning too.
Yeah.
It's hard to meditate for me in the morning. My brain, I almost have to decompress for an hour after I wake up just because it's like, I don't know what happens when I sleep. I'm just like, let me get this channeled out of my psyche. I don't know what that was, but
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, for a lot of these, all 3 of these I feel like could be something done daily, but is that something that we're confident we can do for a whole year? Yeah. The idea is to come up with resolutions we can do for the whole year.
365 days of meditating. That looks pretty cool on Insight Timer, though. 365 days.
I've done it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's impressive.
I may have fallen asleep to it, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
But
And that's another good
It's
point
staying
too. Like,
consistent, at
do it
least
before
turning
I
it
go to
on.
bed. Yeah.
yeah.
Cool. Send it.
There we go. Awesome. So a lot of different directions you can go spiritual. Could be the more traditional idea of spiritual, could be not. A lot of different ways to go about it. Any final takeaways?
Just
for the
make sure it feeds your soul. That's all we got to do.
Follow your heart.
Follow your heart. 2 in a row.
people? Love it.
I mean, there's nothing else better to suggest at that.
Yeah, it's cliche for a reason.
It is,
Yeah,
yeah.
There's truth to it.
There we go.
There we go. All right, part 3 in the books. Be sure to subscribe, like this video, and stay tuned for the last part of New Year's resolutions.